Imagine walking into a village and there is no one there. That is what was reported near Anjikuni Lake in 1913. People say the homes were empty, everything just left behind, and no clear explanation of where everyone went. It sounds unreal, but what if something like this actually happened? On November 26, 1913, a news story was published on the front page of Canada's The Mountain Daily Journal with the title Village of the Dead. This news spreads a wave of terror throughout the Canada because in the remote areas of northern Canada, an entire tribe had vanished overnight without any trace. So guys, this is Anjikuni Lake. But before we find out the mystery, if you don't subscribe to my channel, just subscribe. Also follow me on Instagram and medium.com. Okay, then let's get started. First of all, Anjikuni Lake is located near a remote area of northern Canada, where a small community of the Eskimo tribe lived by its shores. Approximately 100 to 115 people lived there, subsisting on fishing from the lake. This part of northern Canada is an area where over hundreds of thousands of square kilometers, only a few thousand people reside due to the extremely harsh climate. Besides fishing in Anjikuni Lake, hunting of other animals in the surrounding area was common, also with many hunters frequenting the area. It was a bitterly cold day in November 1913 when a hunter named Joe Laber came to the area for hunting. He got so engrossed in hunting that he didn't notice when it got dark. So he had an idea that he would spend the night at the Eskimo tribe of settlement by the lake Anjikuni, as he had done before. The people of this tribe were known for warmly welcoming outsiders. Therefore, Joe packed his gear and started walking toward the Eskimo settlement. It was a moonlit night, but there was complete silence everywhere. No person was whispered, nor could any voice be heard. He could only hear his own footsteps. Although Joe had done this before, something was definitely abnormal today. Normally, as he would approach the settlement, he would start hearing the barkings of dogs, which the villagers kept. But even as he neared the settlement, there was only dissolution and silence. Feeling this, Joe quickened his pace. He thought perhaps the villagers were asleep or had gone somewhere. From a distance, he could see the tents of the settlement, from some of which smoke was rising. But even as he got closer, he heard no one's voice. Finally, when Joe entered the village, he was astonished to see that there was no person nor any animal there. But what surprised Joe was that from some houses, smoke was still rising, as if someone was inside. He went into a tent at random, but there was no one there, and the same was true for all the tents. Well, Joe might have ignored all this and left, but one thing made him even more worried. In some houses, cooking pots were still on the stoves, with the food burned. It seemed someone had prepared food for the night, but had not eaten. Even the woman sewing with cloth and threaded needles was left as if the villagers had suddenly vanished. But where did they go? Joe began searching the entire village. He saw that the dogs the villagers kept were tied with ropes, but had died of starvation, even though food was placed in front of them, but there was no human to feed them. At one place, he saw a freshly dug grave, looking as if it had not been dug long ago. Now, Joe's worries and fear had greatly increased. He was terrified after witnessing the entire scene alone at night. When people from here go anywhere, they always take their dogs with them. But seeing all this, it seemed as if something strange had happened, something unpredictable that forced the people to leave suddenly. That's why they left their dogs, clothes, food, and the burning fire, on which the food was now burned. Unable to bear this any longer, Joe quickly reached the nearest telegraphic office. From there, he contacted the campus of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and told everything he saw. Well, when the police arrived at the village, everything Jolaba had described was found to be true. So the police suspected that perhaps someone had attacked and killed all the villagers. But if that were the case, there would be signs of blood somewhere in the village. Even if there was no blood, some signs of violence or scattered belongings would be present. However, the police found neither signs of violence nor blood. The police immediately began a search operation to find the villagers. During this search operation, they encountered a very unusual thing that perhaps Joe had not noticed. The entire village was covered in snow, but there were no footprints on it. There were only the footprints of one person, and those were Joe Lover's own. This meant if no one else came or went from this village, then where did the villagers go? The lake was frozen over and the villagers' boats were parked on land because fishing is not done in this season. The boats were pulled onto land and parked. If the villagers had gone into the lake or been thrown into it after being killed, the ice layer on the lake would surely have been broken or disturbed somewhere. During the investigation, the police also find out that these people had disappeared 8 days before their arrival. Because dogs do not die from being hungry for a day or two, the smoke coming out of the houses was a sign that not much time had passed since they left. Because it was the kind of smoke that continues to emit for a long time after the wood has blown out. The police had many questions but not a single answer being found. After months of the search operation, the police finally stamped this case as unsolved and closed it forever. And with time, people also forget about it. 15 years after this incident in 1984, writers named Roger Ball and Nigel Planter wrote an article and tried to link this whole matter with aliens. They mentioned in the article that when they went to explore the area near Anjikuni Lake, the meeting hunter and his two sons, they told them that they often saw flying objects over the lake, which had different shapes and were flying towards the village where the Eskimo tribe lived. Based on this story, it was said that perhaps aliens landed that night and took all the people in the village with them. These two writers had no concrete evidence of the presence of aliens or the attack. Therefore, most people did not believe it and rejected this theory. After that, many people started making various separate stories about the disappearance of the Eskimo tribe. But the truth is that it's been almost 100 years to this incident, and still no one has the answer to the question of where did the people of the Anjikuni Lake village go without any traces. The matter of the disappearance of the Eskimo tribe remains a mystery to this day. So, if you like this video, just subscribe, like, share. Bye everyone.